जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहार गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरधरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहार गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरधरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहार गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरधरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवन चारि। यमुना तीरवन चारि। यमुना तीरवन चारि। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहार गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरधरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहार गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरधरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवन चारि। यमुना तीरवन चारि। यमुना तीरवन चारि। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहार गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरधरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहार गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरधरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवन चारि। यमुना तीरवन चारि। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहार गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरधरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहार गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरधरधारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Krishna Balaram, Jai Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jai Vrindavan, Jai Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jai Vrindavan, Jai Radha Shama Sundara, Shama Sundar Sri Radha, Jai Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Sri Radha, Jai Gauranika, 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 Jai Gauranika, Jai Gauranika, 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 Jai Gauranika, Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Srila Prabhupada, Jai Jai Gurudev, 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 Jai Jai Gurudev, Nitya Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitya Hari Bo. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jam Vishnu Bhag Paramhans Parivratakacharya. His Divine Grace Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we are reading the first chapter of Nectar of Devotion. Introduction is finished. We have discussed relief from material miseries, and we have started Krishna consciousness is all auspicious. Okay. Oh, you are not able to see now. Okay. One second. So can Hare Krishna Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam. So can somebody project on here? Actually, I'm streaming live here, so I'm projecting on my laptop. Uh, okay, no problem. So let us start by invoking the blessings of the Acharyas. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadameyam Dadati Swabhadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaisnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsha हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानु सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे हुकुम करोति वाचालं भङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपादीन वन्दे दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवानन्दं So we are reading Nectar of Devotion, and we are continuing chapter 1. Hopefully today we'll finish it. So from introduction we have studied a lot of things. First Mangalacharan, right? Rup Goswami has written this Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, which is like an ocean. Nectar of Devotion, which is written by Prabhupada, is just a summary study of that ocean. So Rup Goswami is paying his obeisances, is invoking the blessings of his elder brother Sanatan Goswami, whom he considered as his spiritual master. So there are three parts to Mangalacharan, right? What is the purpose? Paying the obeisances and invoking the auspiciousness. And then at many places, in introduction, Prabhupada is explaining many things like the cycle of bhoga and tyaga. Generally, people are stuck in their material life and they are very fond of sense gratification. So they are indulged in bhoga. And when miseries increase, when there is a lot of agitation, frustration in mind, then they renounce everything. They say, "Okay, I will tyag." So they go to some weekend getaway hill station. So that is tyaga. And when they do tyaga, then after 3 4 days they are not able to tolerate their mind. They again want all the sense gratification, all the public. So they again come back to their places in the city. That is bhoga. So this bhoga tyaga cycle continues. So nectar of devotion actually helps us to cultivate yukta vairagya, where we can connect everything with Krishna. We don't need to indulge extraneously in bhoga, and we don't need to prematurely do tyaga also. So the best thing is that wherever you are, you connect that activity, whatever you are doing, with Krishna. है ना? ज्ञाने प्रयास उद्भास नमन्ते वा जीवन्ति सन्मुखरितां भवदीय वार्तां स्थाने स्थितां श्रुतिगतां तनवान मनोभिर जय प्रायश जितोपि यस्य लोक्या. So Krishna, who cannot be won by big yogis who are doing austerities for thousands of years, he can be won by by a devotee who is hearing from a pure devotee with a routine program. Morning, evening, he is hearing, and he is fixed in his varna and ashrama. Sthane sthitam shrutigata. So wherever he is, he just fixes himself there, and he renders oral reception of the shrutis from a pure devotee. So then, by that routine program, your love for spiritual master will grow, and you will experience Krishna, and then you will experience everything. Yat karoshi yadashnasi yad joshi dadasi yat, and varnashrama charvatan sarva dharman parityaja. Everything you will experience by the mercy of that pure devotee. This is the discussion which happens between Lord Chaitanya and Ramananda Roy. So this is the culminated words. Yeah, Jnane Prayasa Dipasana Manteva. Yeah. And in introduction, we heard about impersonalism also, right? Like these impersonalists are like volcanoes in the ocean. So this ocean of nectar is so strong, so intense that it's like the ocean which overspills the volcanoes of impersonalism. It doesn't let impersonalists attack. So in Nectar of Instruction, Prabhupada writes that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that Mayavadi भाष्य होए सर्वनाश. मायावादी भाष्य सुनिले होए सर्वनाश. So this hearing from impersonalists is very dangerous, because it's like the snake bite. So if you are bitten by a snake, then slowly the poison will spread in the entire body. So similarly, we should not hear from those who are not connected in disciplic succession, and those who are materialistic. We should hear from only those who are properly situated in their service in disciplic succession. Yeah, that is one thing. Volcanoes. Anybody else who remembers what was there in introduction? And yeah, Pragya Mataji.
प्रीचर का एटीट्यूड कैसा होना चाहिए, कि हमें कभी भी अपने आप को ग्रेट प्रीचर नहीं समझना चाहिए, और हमें ये सोचना चाहिए कि हम एक इंस्ट्रूमेंट है जो प्रीवियस आचार्य है उनके लिए, तभी हम कुछ बेनिफिट कर पाएंगे सफरिंग ह्यूमैनिटी के लिए.
Yes.
इंट्रोडक्शन में 4 पार्ट और थे, जैसे कि पहला पार्ट था कि डिवोशनल सर्विस के बारे में, फिर सेकंड पार्ट रेगुलेटिव प्रिंसिपल्स, थर्ड पार्ट डिवोशनल सर्विस इन एक्सटेसी, फोर्थ पार्ट अल्टीमेट गोल लव ऑफ गॉड. फिर प्रभु जी इसमें इंट्रोडक्शन में ये था कि प्योर डिवोशनल सर्विस क्या होती है. इसमें ये था प्रभु जी की जिसमें हम हमारी डिजायर नहीं होती, हम डिजायर से फ्री होते हैं, मटेरियल डिजायर से. तो पहली क्लास जो होती है वो डिवोशनल सर्विस की, उसमें ये होता है कि हम फुल्ली इंगेज्ड होते हैं कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस. और इसमें प्रभु जी कल्टीवेशन का मतलब भी बताया है इंट्रोडक्शन में कि एक्टिविटी होती है. फिर एक्टिविटी में 2 टाइप की बताई थी, प्रवृत्ति और निवृत्ति. प्रभु जी थिंकिंग, फीलिंग और विलिंग जो है ये भी बताया था इंट्रोडक्शन में. ये माइंड की एक्टिविटी होती है कि हमको जो एक्टिविटी जो हम बॉडी से हम एक्टिविटी कर सकते हैं वो कर सकते हैं, ऑफर करना भगवान को, मतलब सर्विस कर सकते हैं भगवान की. और माइंड से जो हम एक्टिविटी कर सकते हैं भगवान कृष्ण के बारे में सोचना. और एक्टिविटी ऑफ स्पीच में हमने पढ़ा था कि प्रीचिंग करना, मतलब ग्लोरीफाई करना कृष्ण को. फिर एक लास्ट टाइम आपने इनिशिएशन का मतलब बताया था जिसमें हम स्पिरिचुअल मास्टर से कनेक्शन करते हैं और कृष्णा से कनेक्शन एस्टैब्लिश हो जाता है उसमें इनिशिएशन का.
दीक्षा कले शिक्षा करे आत्मसमर्पण, सही काले कृष्णा करे आत्मसमा. Very nice, very nice. I think at least Pragya Mataji is reading Nectar Devotion. So you have bought the hard copy, Mataji?
Yes, already.
Okay. Yeah, I would request all of you to buy the hard copy. It has 18 chapters for the first wave, and it was also said, right, ki there are four waves of nectar devotion, and in this course we will be covering only one wave, and that also only 18 chapters. So this process has, as you said, right, this process has three levels. The first level is Vedi Sadhana Bhakti, which is devotional service according to regulative principles. So, what are the two symptoms of Vedi Sadhana Bhakti? Dana, yeah. Anybody remembers? Simran Mataji, Kle, Klesha Agni and Shubhada, right? That's what we are discussing in the first chapter. So, Klesha Agni is freedom from material miseries, and Shubhada means Krishna consciousness is all auspicious. So as soon as we start practicing Vedi Sadhana Bhakti, we start liking the different activities of devotional service, start liking prasadam, we start associating with devotees, serving with them, serving the Lord in their association, start coming for festivals, we clean the temple, and we cook for the Lord, and we like chanting, we like hearing, we like sharing our realizations with the devotees, we like hearing from the devotees, we start loving the devotees basically. So all this is kleshagni and shubhada. Basically it becomes more and more auspicious. This is Vedi Sadhana Bhakti, and after Vedi Sadhana Bhakti is Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti, which has Sudurlabha, and what is the other one? Moksha Lagutakrit and Sudurlabha. So where Bhava Bhakti is very, very difficult to obtain, and after you attain Bhava Bhakti, the liberation becomes basically very, very less, very, very minimized. Liberation becomes, importance becomes less. Okay. So right now we are just discussing the symptoms of the Vedi Sadhana Bhakti. And the highest devotion is Ragatmika Bhakti, which is Prema Bhakti. And the two symptoms of Prema Bhakti are Sandranandani Visheshatma and Sri Krishna Akarshani. Sandranandani Visheshatma means the intensity of devotion is very, very strong. So it's like honey. It's very, very gada. And Sri Krishna Akarshani means it attracts Krishna very much. Okay, so let's start the Krishna consciousness is all auspicious. So can somebody project on this, or you can open the live link on YouTube. Okay, we'll connect from here only. Okay, our group is quite lazy in doing service. Krishna consciousness is all auspicious. Srila Rup Goswami has given a definition of auspiciousness. And one more thing, as Mataji is saying, that like the definition of pure devotional service is Anya Bilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadhyanavitam Anukulena Krishna Anushilanam Bhakti Uttama. So when you don't have any desire which is not conducive for cultivating Krishna consciousness, and you don't have any ulterior motives of cultivating jnana or karma, then you are basically performing pure devotional service, and you are cultivating your devotional sanskaras. Anuku, anukulasya sankalpa, pratikulasya vardhana. So that is the major paribhasha sutra of this nectar devotion. Just like every scripture which Prabhupada has written has a Paribhasha Sutra. Bhagavatam has its in the first canto, third chapter, 28th verse. Bhagavad Gita has its Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita. So Nectar devotion also has this verse. Okay. Srila Rupa Goswami has given a definition of auspiciousness. He says that actual auspiciousness means welfare activities for all the people of the world. Kala Prasidata. There is one verse, right? Vishwastu Kala Prasidata, I mean, fifth canto. So, Prabhupada also used to say, Sarve Sukhino Bhavantu. A devotee wishes well for everyone. Nobody is his enemy. Even Prahlad Maharaj also says, there is no difference between enemy and friends. Everybody is a soul. Nobody can be your enemy unless your consciousness is not good. Everybody is a friend, actually. At the present moment, groups of people are engaged in welfare activities in terms of society, community, or nation. There is even an attempt in the form of the United Nations for World Health Activity. But due to the shortcomings of limited national activities, such a general mass welfare program for the whole world is not practically possible. The Krishna consciousness movement, however, is so nice that it can render the highest benefit to the entire human race. Everyone can be attracted by this movement and everyone can feel the result. Therefore, Rup Goswami and other learned scholars agreed that a broad propaganda program for the Krishna consciousness movement of devotional service all over the world is the highest humanitarian welfare activity. Yeah, although they say United Nations, but there is no united factor. How can there be anything united if there is no center point? So, but in Krishna consciousness, everything is united because everybody knows that who is his father, Krishna is his father. So then automatically we feel brotherhood basically. So yeah, instead of United Nations, it is disintegrated nations. Countries are fighting, they are going there and they are feeling dissatisfaction because they are not able to connect to Krishna. So the more you are agitated and dissatisfied in your heart, the more problems will be there in the society. So Krishna consciousness is the only solution to all the problems. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Matsar, everything can be solved by devotion to Krishna. That is the purpose of this material world. That is why Krishna has created this material world. Yeah. Okay. It was mute. बाकी थैंक यू माता जी बाकी सब लोग पता नहीं क्या so we are reading this section second paragraph how the Krishna consciousness movement can attract the attention of the whole world and how each and every man can feel pleasure in this Krishna consciousness is stated in the Padma Purana as follows. A person who is engaged in devotional service in full Krishna consciousness is to be understood to be doing the best service to the whole world and to be pleasing everyone in the world. In addition to human society, he is pleasing even the trees and animals because they also become attracted by such a movement. A practical example of this was shown by Lord Chaitanya when he was traveling through the forests of Jharikhanda in the central India for spreading his Sankirtan movement. So even in Bhagavad Gita 12th chapter, there is one verse, right? अनपेक्षा शुचि दक्ष उदासीनो गतव्यता सर्वारं परित्यागी भक्तिमान में प्रियो नर. So a devotee never envies anybody. He is always wishing well even for the enemy. For example, Amrish Maharaj and Durvasa Muni. Although Durvasa Muni got angry, he unleashed the demon, and even Sudarshan Chakra also got unleashed on him. But Amrish Maharaj was always paying obeisances to Durvasa Muni. He was saying, maybe I deserved your punishment. So he always forgave him. He was always fixed in his Krishna consciousness. So, like this devotee, he always wishes well for the other person. He is compassionate on other souls. Yeah. In Lord Chaitanya Charitamrita also we see that Lord Chaitanya is doing welfare to even to animals. When he is performing kirtan in Jharikanda, tigers, elephants, deer, wild animals, everybody is joining. And when he is performing, uh, yeah, Shivananda Sen brought a dog. So a dog is chanting Hare Krishna. Lord Chaitanya is feeding him coconut pulp and dog is saying Hare Krishna, and that dog Shivananda Sen is paying full Dandavat pranams to this dog because he's having a lot of mercy from Lord Chaitanya. So actually, when we are happily performing devotional service, it is beneficial for everyone actually. Whosoever it comes in your contact, he starts developing some credit. Furthermore, a person engaged in Krishna consciousness, acting in devotional service, can develop all the good qualities that are generally found in the demigods. It is said by Sukdev Goswami in the fifth canto Srimad Bhagavatam, "My dear king, persons who have unflinching faith in Krishna and are without any duplicity can develop all the good qualities of the demigods. On account of our devotees' high grade of Krishna consciousness, even the demigods like to live with him." I think ये पढ़ चुके हैं हम लोग. On the other hand, a person who is not in Krishna consciousness has no good qualities. He may be highly educated from the academic point of view, but in the actual field of his activities, he can be seen to be baser than animals. Yeah. Even though a person is highly educated academically, if he cannot go beyond the sphere of mental activities, then he is sure to perform only material activities and thus remain impure. There are so many persons in the modern world who have been highly educated in the materialistic universities, but it is seen that they cannot take up the movement of Krishna consciousness and develop the high qualities of the demigods. So, real education is spiritual education. No matter how much you are educated materially, if you don't go, if you don't elevate your consciousness above the mental platform, you will not get spiritual education. Okay. For example, a Krishna conscious boy, even if he is not very well educated by the university standard, can immediately give up all illicit sex, gambling, meat eating, and intoxication. Whereas those who are not in Krishna consciousness, although very highly educated, are often drunkards, meat eaters, sex mongers, and gamblers. Yesterday only, my mother was telling that the Raymond, who had a very big brand, so the Raymond, who was the owner of that company, was kicked out by his son from his house. So they are living on a 2 BHK rented apartment. So people are very big, but there are a lot of misery, a lot of suffering is there because of the negative motion, because of the karma they are carrying with them. So yeah, like somehow we should be satisfied with whatever Krishna gives, and we should engage our time in Krishna conscious activities. Thank you. Yeah. Because if we invest our time in Krishna conscious activities, then there we will experience higher taste, higher spiritual happiness, and that will purify us, our mind. That will keep our heart happy. Whatever Krishna gives, we are happy with that. That is our prime thing. The association of devotees, hearing, chanting, going to temple, taking prasadam, being joyful, happily, being happy when seeing the devotees. So yeah, Krishna is happy when we are happy. So we have to be happy in mode of goodness. We have to be happy in spiritual activities. These are practical proofs of how a Krishna conscious person becomes highly developed in good qualities, whereas a person who is not in Krishna consciousness cannot do so. We experience that even a young boy in Krishna consciousness is unattached to cinemas. ये भी पढ़ लिया था. One who is not in Krishna consciousness usually cannot sit silently even for half an hour. ये भी पढ़ लिया था. So I think from here we have to start. Happiness in Krishna consciousness. There are three levels of happiness. First is material happiness. Second is happiness in Brahman. Third is happiness in Krishna consciousness. So many people say, right, like when you distribute books, they will say, "Oh, I am happy, you are happy. Why do we need Bhagavad Gita?" But then you should ask, what happiness are you in? Is this mode of goodness, happiness, or passion, or ignorance, or transcendental? Because mode of goodness, happiness will keep you happy, uh, and will keep you satisfied. But mode of passion, happiness, it will burn you. Although you will experience some happiness in working hard, but yeah, it will burn your blood. It will not sustain you. And mode of ignorance is it will take you to lower species. So happiness might be there, but which degree of happiness is there is important. All these things are given in 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. In the Tantra Shastra, Lord Shiva speaks to his wife Sati in this way: My dear wife, a person who has surrendered himself at the lotus feet of Govinda and who has thus developed pure Krishna consciousness can be very easily awarded all the perfections desired by the impersonalists. And beyond this, he can enjoy the happiness achieved by the pure devotees. So Lord Shiva keeps preaching to his wife. You know? So he's speaking Bhagavatam also, and yeah. So we should preach to our wife according to her receptivity. Radha Govind Maharaj says that it is okay. Protect is the religion, is the dharma of the husband, but real protection comes when we give bhakti to the wife, when we share Krishna consciousness. We should arrange all the material necessities also, but the real happiness will come when you will share Krishna consciousness. Happiness derived from pure devotional service is the highest because it is eternal. The happiness derived from material perfection or understanding oneself to be Brahman is inferior because it is temporary. Yeah. So when you experience bhakti rasa, when you experience joy while serving the devotees, while serving Krishna, then that is real happiness of pure devotional service. And even Brahman happiness is little inferior because it is temporary. There is no preventing one's falling down from material happiness, and there is even every chance of falling down from the spiritual happiness derived by identifying oneself with the impersonal Brahman. It has been seen that great Mayavadi sannyasis, very highly educated and almost realized souls, may sometimes take to political activities or to social welfare activities. The reason is that they actually do not derive any ultimate transcendental happiness in the impersonal understanding and therefore must come down to the material platform and take to such mundane affairs. There are many instances, especially in India, where these Mayavadi sannyasis descend to the material platform again. But a person who is fully in Krishna consciousness will never return to any sort of material platform. However alluring and attracting they may be, he always knows that no material welfare activities can compare to the spiritual activity of Krishna consciousness. So Srila Prabhupada gives the example of a rocket. Suppose these scientists they launch a rocket from Earth. So what will happen to the rocket? What will happen? Any guesses? Shrika Prabhu, am I audible? Yes, bro. If you if you launch a rocket, what will happen to the rocket? Because I was saying कि मतलब I have launched only Diwali rockets, so I know about only Diwali rocket. Scientist rocket, I don't know. Obviously मतलब ऊपर तो जाएगा ही. तो दिवाली रॉकेट छोटा होता है. हाँ, यस सर. लॉन्च हो जाएगा या फिर फेल हो जाएगा. क्यों बीच में नहीं रह सकता, मतलब ऐसा नहीं हो सकता कि स्काई में खो जाए वो. अच्छा. हाँ, इस पे तो पूरा पीएचडी थीसिस लिख सकते हैं कि अगर लॉन्च हो गया तो वो ऊपर चला जाएगा, लॉन्च नहीं हुआ तो वहीं फट जाएगा, है ना, उससे पता नहीं कितने लोगों की मौत भी हो जाए. लेकिन ऐसा भी तो हो सकता है कि लॉन्च हो गया और लॉन्च हो के ऊपर गया फिर वापस दोबारा अर्थ पे ही आके ब्लास्ट हो गया, उसमें भी किसी की मौत हो गई. ऐसा भी हो सकता है ना प्रभु. हाँ, तो ये सारे केसेस बताने हैं आपको. और चौथा केस ये है कि लॉन्च करा आपने और खो गया रॉकेट, कहीं पे वापस ही नहीं आया वो ऐसा क्यों होगा? क्योंकि किसी मतलब अगर कोई और एक स्पेस स्पेस इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर किसी और प्लैनेट पे है जहाँ पे रॉकेट लैंड कर गया, मान लो मून पे लैंड कर गया, तो फिर वापस नहीं आएगा रॉकेट. तो ये चार केसेस बनते हैं टोटल. ठीक है. तो प्रभुपाद यही बोलते थे कि द रॉकेट हैज रिसीव शेल्टर ऑन मून, दैट्स व्हाई it has gone to the moon. So ultimately, entire all spirituality, the transmigration of the soul, it depends on the shelter which that soul is feeling. Especially during difficult circumstances, the shelter which we access that defines our destiny. Many times, this material world is full of miseries. Dukhalayam ashashvatam, janma mrityu jara vyadi. Sometimes situation become difficult, or sometimes our mind uh, shows it as difficult. Then we talk to somebody. Sometimes we eat a lot of ice cream, we eat a lot of chocolate. Sometimes we consult a devotee, sometimes we consult our parents. So the choice which you are making at the time of difficulty is actually the shelter which you are seeking at that time. Because at that time you need shelter. There is a lot of churning going on in your heart. And at the time of death also a lot of churning will go on in your body. It will be a difficult situation. So the type of shelter you seek at the time of difficulty, that shapes your destiny. So if you are able to take the right shelter of of Vaishnavas and Krishna, then you are in good hands. Your destiny is for sure good. But if you are taking material shelters, then you will be bound in this threefold material miseries. Okay. Okay, this eight in number also we read, I think. Anima Siddhi, Lagima Siddhi, Yoga Siddhi. Okay. But all these Ashtasiddhis are actually just manipulation of the material laws of nature. For example, Hanuman. Hanuman could become very small, he could become very big. That was because of the blessings which he received from so many sages. So these are all material siddhis. Yeah. And then there is Laghima. Then there is Prapti Siddhi. We discussed this. We can manifest any fruit, right? And then there is Vasita, Ishita, where one can create an entire planet. In Vashita, we can bring anyone, we can hypnotize anybody. Vash means hypnotize, right? So there are Ashtasiddhis. And there is another mystic perfection which is known as Prakamya. By this Prakamya power, one can achieve anything he likes. So, for example, in the spiritual world, if Krishna says that he wants to fight, then immediately fall down of Jaya and Vijay happens. If Krishna says he wants to sleep, immediately all lights are out. Sun and moon goes to sleep. So everything is happening according to Ichha Shakti of Krishna in the spiritual world. So that is, so if that power comes to some living, some soul, then that power is called Prakamya. That is Astasiddhi. One can take water into his eye and then again come out from within. Come out from within the eye. Yeah. Simply by his will, he can perform such wonderful activities. Okay. The highest perfection of mystic power is called Kama Vasayita. This is also magic, but whereas the Prakamya power acts to create wonderful effects within the scope of nature. Kama Vasayita permits one to contradict nature, in other words, to do the impossible. Yeah. Of course, one can derive great amounts of temporary happiness by achieving such yogic materialistic perfection. Yeah. Foolishly, people who are enamored of the glimmer of modern materialistic advancement are thinking that the Krishna consciousness movement is for less intelligent men. But actually, Krishna consciousness movement is only for those people who have refined intelligence. I was doing this training, which very kindly Ravi Prabhu has connected to me. So everybody was asking me, how are you able to maintain your energy levels? You don't even eat after in dinner, and you don't even eat with us. So and he was saying that all the IITians are in ISKCON. Why? What is the reason? So then I told this verse, Krishna Vandam Tusha Krishnam, Sangopangastra Parshutam, Yagye Sankirtan Prayer Yajanti Sumedasa. So Lord Chaitanya has predicted this, that Yajanti is Sumedasa. One who has good intelligence, he will participate in the worship of Lord Chaitanya. And Krishna and Lord Chaitanya will finish his he will call it his demoniac qualities by the weapon of Sankirtan. Krishna Vanantisha Krishna. Sangopangastra Parshadam. Astra. Sankirtan is the Astra for this Kaliuga. I am better off being busy with my material comforts, maintaining a nice apartment, family, and sex life. These people do not know that at any moment they can be kicked out of their material situation. Due to ignorance, they do not know that real life is eternal. The temporary comforts of the body are not the goal of life, and it is due only to darkest ignorance that people become enamored of the glimmering advancement of material comforts. Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. So yesterday only Prabhupada was saying that if we are even if we are comfortable, but if we are living like a dog, then what is the use of that comfort? Right? Anyway, that comfort will not continue forever. Comfort is only one thing, that is association with Krishna and his devotees. That is Krishna consciousness. If that comfort is there, then that comfort will take you to next destiny also. But if you are just like spending time to make your life comfortable in a way, in a material way, having a lot of food and lot of material amenities, then that will not help you in making spiritual advancement. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has therefore said that the advancement of material knowledge renders a person more foolish because it causes one to forget his real identity by its glimmer. Yeah, advancement of material knowledge. This is doom for him because this human form of life is meant for getting out of material contamination. By the advancement of material knowledge, people are becoming more and more entangled in material existence. They have no hope of being liberated from this catastrophe. So Kunti Maharani is saying, Janma Aishwarya Shuta Shivir Ed Mana Madapaman. So these four things, they are obstacles on the path of devotional service. Janma means birth in an aristocratic family. Shruta means I have learned a lot of things. Shri means Lakshmi, lot of opulence. Janma Ashwarya also, lot of material possessions. So all these things are obstacles on the path of devotional service because it makes us more proudy of our material. If we don't have these, then we are always taking shelter of Krishna. Then it is easier to realize that we are part and parcel of Krishna. Otherwise, we have so many material shelters, so it's very difficult to take spiritual shelter. Yeah, next paragraph. Anybody wants to read? Prabjeet, yeah, Pragya Madhuri, go ahead. तो आप नेक्स्ट पैराग्राफ भी पढ़ लीजिए माता जी। ये काम या धर्म अर्थ काम मोक्ष की बात हो रही है बेसिकली। Hmm. So here it is said that if you are able to taste one drop of Krishna consciousness, that is better than anything else in this material world. That's what Radhanath Swami also says. Ki one drop of Krishna consciousness is more important than anything else in this material world. Because that one drop of happiness in Krishna consciousness will help you create that sanskar to taste or more Krishna consciousness. And that's why these attending these yatras are important, because you cannot taste pure Krishna consciousness unless you associate with a pure devotee. So that's why it's very important. And the most important thing in Krishna consciousness is training. And training can happen only when you make good role models. You idealize, you watch them closely, how they are behaving, how they are expressing the gratitude, how they are appreciating everyone. So then, when you observe these pure devotees very, very closely, then your transformation will happen. Character will transfer. Okay. There was a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya known as Kulavecha Sridhar, who was a very poor man. He was doing a small business selling cups made from the leaves of plantain trees, and his income was almost nothing. Still, he was spending 50% of his small income on the worship of the Ganges, and with the other 50%, he was somehow living. Lord Chaitanya once revealed himself to this confidential devotee, Kulavicha Sridhar, and offered him any opulence he liked. So actually, Lord Chaitanya showed him Shadbhuj form. So Kulavicha Sridhar was a very, very poor person, but he was a great devotee. He used to live in a hut which whose roof was thatched, like it was broken. Rainwater used to fall inside the house, and he used to worship Ganges, and he used to sell some banana leaves, and whatever money he used to get, he used to employ that in worshipping Ganges. And many times Lord Chaitanya he used to make joke of him, "Ki you are having a feast alone. You should share with me." So this devotee was very, very dear to Lord Chaitanya. But Sridhar informed the Lord that he did not want any material opulence. He was quite happy in his present position and wanted only to gain unflinching faith and devotion unto the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya. That is the position of pure devotees. So, pure devotees, they don't want anything, they just want the association of Krishna, service to the lotus feet of Vaishnavas and Krishna. If they can be engaged 24 hours each day in devotional service, they do not want anything else, not even the happiness of liberation or of becoming one with the Supreme. Mukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakalya Shanta Krishna Bhakta Sadev Shanta. So those who are desiring Bhukti Mukti, sense gratification and liberation, and Siddhi, they are always dissatisfied, peaceless. But Krishna Bhakta is always satisfied and happy with his material situation. Yes, second paragraph. Simran Mataji. Yes, Hare Krishna. Hmm. So if you are good in bhakti, then everything else, this dharma, artha, kama, moksha will follow. You don't need to separately run after them. वो थ्री इडियट्स का एक सेइंग था ना कि हमें कामयाबी के पीछे नहीं भागना चाहिए, हमें ऐसा काम करना चाहिए कि कामयाबी हमारे पीछे भागे। तो वही है, अगर हम भक्ति करेंगे तो ऑब्वियसली बाकी चीज़ें भागेंगी हमारे पीछे, लेकिन अंडर द गुड गाइडेंस ऑफ bonafide spiritual master in the association of devotees, especially following the instruction of senior devotees. Whenever it is required, we should follow. Otherwise, then you will be, your life will be full of struggles only. You will never get out of those struggles. Okay. Okay. So next is rareness of pure devotional service. This is Sudurlabha, one of the characteristics of Raganuga Bhakti. In the preliminary phase of spiritual life, there are different kinds of austerities, penances, and similar processes for attaining self realization. However, even if an executor of these processes is without any material desire, he still cannot achieve devotional service. So, devotional service cannot be achieved only by austerities and penances, unless you have blessings of the spiritual master. And aspiring by oneself alone to achieve devotional service is also not very hopeful, because Krishna does not agree to award devotional service to merely anyone. Krishna can easily offer a person material happiness or even liberation, but he does not agree very easily to award a personal person engagement in his devotional service. Yeah, because Krishna himself gets sold out to that person. Because if Krishna is giving bhakti to somebody, immediately Krishna becomes sold out. Devotional service can in fact be attained only through the mercy of a pure devotee. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said, by the mercy of the spiritual master who is a pure devotee and by the mercy of Krishna, one can achieve the platform of devotional service. There is no other way. Yeah. What is this verse? Let's see this verse. ब्रह्मांड भ्रमिते कौन भाग्यवान जीव गुरु कृष्ण प्रसाद पाए भक्ति लता बीच. Yes, next paragraph. Srikar Prabhu, you want to read? Yeah, yes, yes. So basically, behind the activities, the purpose should be clear. We should not do anything blindly. For example, yesterday, one devotee was saying that in a village, the cat was. So whenever there is used to be a marriage, there used to be a cat on top of which one bucket was kept. So this pratha was following, but there was no scriptural basis of that pratha. So these activities will never give you any spiritual credit or pious credit. So activity should be performed with faith and while keeping the instructions of the spiritual master in our consciousness. Then that activity will give fruit. In the association of devotees, we should perform that activity, and we should read Shastra where that activity is being confirmed. For example, if we are chanting daily, then we should spend some time to contemplate on the glories of chanting also, why we are chanting, how we should chant. We should hear. That's why I posted that meditation from Sachinandan Maharaj's book in the group. So when we hear like this, then we understand that holy name is very precious and how we can treat it very preciously. So all those things are there. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is also confirmed by Prahlad Maharaj that merely by personal efforts or by the instructions of higher authorities, one cannot attain to the stage of devotional service. One must become blessed by the dust of the lotus feet of a pure devotee who is completely freed from the contamination of material desires. Okay, so that verse is there, na? Uh, Rajo Vishekam. I'm forgetting. Yeah, next paragraph. Prabhjit Prabhu. हाँ जो आपको दिख रहा है वही है पढ़ना. Yes, yes. So there is a very intimate relationship between Pandavas and Krishna. Krishna is fulfilling all their desires, and Krishna is giving them reversals also. During those reversals, Pandavas are being protected by inconceivable plans of Krishna, like Lakshagraha and so many other demons attacked Yaksha Prashna, right? Yeah. So that's why, that is because all the Pandavas are the pure devotees of the Lord. They are very, very dear to Krishna. Yudhishthira Maharaj is always taking shelter of Krishna. He is never compromising on the religious principles. Dharmam tu. Yeah, Dharmam tu Sakshat Bhagavad Pradita. So I think let's read this. Okay, it's a little bit there, but let's try to finish this. The happiness of becoming one with the Supreme. Oh, interesting. Srila Rupa Goswami says that if Brahmanand or the happiness of becoming one with the Supreme is multiplied by 1 trillion fold, it still cannot compare to an atomic fraction of the happiness derived from the ocean of devotional service. In the Hari Bhakti Shuddhodaya, Prahlad Maharaj, while satisfying Lord Narsimhadev by his prayers, says, my dear Lord of the universe, I am feeling transcendental pleasure in your presence and have become merged in the ocean of happiness. So Brahmanand into 1 trillion is equal to. That is also less than Bhagavadanand. I now consider the happiness of Brahmanand to be no more than the water in the impression left by a cow's hoof in the earth compared to this ocean of bliss. So Prahlad Maharaj, after being touched by Narsimadev, he is telling this. Similarly, it is confirmed in the Bhavartha Deepika, Sridhar Swami's commentary on the Srimad Bhagavatam. My dear Lord, some of the fortunate persons who are swimming in the ocean of your nectar of devotion and who are relishing the nectar of the narration of your pastimes certainly know ecstasies that immediately minimize the value of the happiness derived from religiousness, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. Yeah. Such a transcendental devotee regards any kind of happiness other than devotional service as no better than straw in the street. For example, if you see the saffron devotees in ISKCON Punjabi Bagh, they are all absorbed in their Krishna consciousness. Very, very well trained. They are there in in that temple for more than 15 years. So much pollution is there, so much politics is there in Delhi. but still they are totally fixed up in their relationship with Krishna, in their service. How can they be fixed up? Because they are given proper nourishment and they are relishing that bhakti rasa, and they are very very satisfied with whatever Krishna is giving them. Very happy in their relationship with Krishna, attracting Krishna. Ravi Prabhu, you want to read? You are there. Yes. Mm. Mm. No, I cannot do. I'm displaying on laptop. हम्म, आप पढ़ लीजिए। हाँ, अगर आपको कन्वीनियंट लग रहा है, नहीं तो हाँ, ठीक है, कोई नहीं। टू परफॉर्म डिवोशनल सर्विस मीन्स टू फॉलो इन द फुटस्टेप्स ऑफ राधा रानी। तो ये तो सिंपल ही है कि कृष्णा अल्योर्स द कामदेव एंड राधा रानी अल्योर्स कृष्णा, सो दैट्स व्हाई राधा रानी इज कॉल्ड मदन मोहन मोहिनी। Yeah, so if you have to do bhakti, then we have to follow in the footsteps of Radharani. She is the highest of the gopis, and we have to follow in the footsteps of all the devotees of Vrindavan, Brajvasis, like Yashoda Mai, Nand Maharaj, Uddhava, Purnamasi, everybody, Shri Dama, Sudama, Kinkini, all the friends of Krishna. They were so nice, like so full of joy and happiness while playing with Krishna in Vatsalya Rasa. Sorry, Sakhya Rasa, right? They put themselves under the care of Radharani in order to achieve perfection in their devotional service. Yeah. So, devotional service should be performed under the care of a senior devotee. All the devotees of Vrindavan, they are putting themselves under the care of Radharani. This is a very important principle. Without a higher shelter, you cannot perform decent devotional service. For example, Rup Goswami always took shelter of his elder brother, Sanatan Goswami. Sanatan Goswami received instructions from Lord Chaitanya. Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, he received guidance from Sarup Damodar Goswami. Sarup Damodar Goswami, he received guidance from Rup Goswami. So everybody is doing devotional service, taking guidance from somebody, and then respecting that guidance and receiving it in his heart and following it by heart and soul. In other words, devotional service is not an activity of the material world. It is directly under the control of Radharani. In Bhagavad Gita, it is confirmed that the Mahatmas of great souls are under the protection of Devi Prakriti, the internal energy, Radharani. So, yeah, that verse is there, na Mahatmanastu Mam Partha Devim Prakriti Mashrita. So, actually, devotional service begins by the favor of Radharani. That's why Radhastami is very important. Unless Radharani recommends us to Krishna, we have no chance. I also first time when I started chanting 16 rounds 9 years back, 10 years back, it was on Radhastami only. So Radharani is very very instrumental in facilitating our devotional service. So being directly under the control of the internal potency of Krishna, devotional service attracts even Krishna himself. So this is this is very tricky. That internal potency that belongs to Krishna. There is a Shakti and there is a Shaktiman. But one who practices that Shakti, that also attracts Krishna. So Krishna becomes allured by his own Yogmaya also sometimes. In the Agasura pastime, we see that. This fact is corroborated by Krishna in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 14th chapter, verse 20, where he says, "My dear Uddhav, you may know it from me that the attraction I feel for devotional service rendered by my devotees is not to be attained even by the performance of mystic yoga. Yeah. Philosophical speculation, ritualistic sacrifices, study of Vedanta, practice of severe austerities, or the giving of everything in charity. These are, of course, very nice activities, but they are not as attractive to me as the transcendental loving service rendered by my devotees." Yeah. How Krishna becomes attracted by the devotional service of his devotees is described by Narada in Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 10th chapter, verses 48 and 49. There, Narada addresses King Yudhishthir while the king is appreciating the glories of the character of Prahlad Maharaj. So, again and again, Krishna is exclaiming his gratitude to Vrajvasis that I cannot reciprocate to the pure devotion which you have. My only request to you is that you be satisfied with whatever you have, and because I am totally indebted to you, to all of you for your devotion. So I cannot do more. So Krishna is totally flattened actually. Krishna doesn't want anything apart from our love, and it is us. We have to take shelter. We have to cultivate that. Yeah. A pure devotee never thinks himself great. He always thinks that other devotees are greater than himself. The king was thinking Prahlad Maharaj is actually a devotee of the Lord, while I am nothing. And while thinking this, he was addressed by Narada as follows. So there is a conversation between Yudhishthira Maharaj and Narada in 7th canto. Very nice, very instructive. Narada is describing Varnashrama, all the qualities. Yudhishthira Maharaj is asking this question that what qualities should the citizens of my kingdom have to become like Prahlad Maharaj. So very, very good discussion. Then Narada is saying, "My dear King Yudhishthir, you, the Pandava brothers, are the only fortunate people in this world. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has appeared on this planet and is presenting himself to you as an ordinary human being. He is always with you in all circumstances. He is living with you and covering himself from the eyes of others. Others cannot understand that he is the Supreme Lord, but he is still living with you as your cousin, as your friend, and even as your messenger. Therefore, you must know that nobody in this world is more fortunate than you." So Narada is actually magnifying the mercy which Krishna has given to Pandavas. Okay, last paragraph. Pragya Mataji, you want to read? Nobody else is left, right? Rajit Raga is left. Yeah, Pragya Mataji. Yeah. Yeah, very well. So Krishna is immediately he arranges situations personally for his devotees, and I think all of us have experienced that. So Krishna is only hungry for our love. He is not hungry for anything else. So increase your love, increase your commitment, increase your surrender, then Krishna will. You will see Krishna everywhere. Okay, any questions? Today we have completed first chapter. What is the title? Yeah, yeah, good. I was expecting you will speak. You are in Panipat, right? You are in. Okay, okay, very nice. Yeah, yeah, I'm in Noida in the Amity. Yeah, 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 sure. Hmm. 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 Yeah, yeah, yes, yes, yes. So then rules and regulations they don't really. Basically, your devotional service is governed by more spontaneity and more love and affection rather than rules and regulation. That is Raganuga Bhakti. And all these Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Matsarya, they can be dovetailed in Krishna's service, right? So, love is greed. So, if you are greedy for serving Krishna, greedy for glorifying Krishna, that becomes spiritual. That is the main principle actually. Tatra lolyam ekamulam. So greed is the only moolam. Greed is the only means to attain devotional service. Unless you are greedy for these activities, for taking association of Maharaj, for taking association of devotees, kirtan, that you will not advance. So somehow we have to become more greedy and not familiar. Yeah. Thank you for sharing, bro. Okay. Thank you very much for assembling. We'll meet next Sunday. Please come for chanting, and in the evening also we can meet regularly at 8 o'clock next week. Thank you. Hare Krishna.